Jocelyn Berard is the Vice President of Business and Leadership Solutions at Global Knowledge. He spoke with us about implementing talent management interventions at the Ottawa Hospital. Can you walk us through the talent management intervention that occurred at the Ottawa Hospital?
Sure. I think what's important to know first is what are two factors that really led to the intervention. In many large organizations, the complexity of managing an organization today is higher than before, so requiring more leaders that are highly competent and confident. And the Ottawa Hospital, we're talking about 12,000 employees, more than 1 million patient intervention a year, so 1,300 physicians, so large organization. And also the fact that we all know about aging of the population. So if you think about it, for a hospital, it's double impact for them. More patient coming because of more aging, and their own workforce is getting older as well. So really the board was concerned about having the right leaders at the top. And so it came straight from the board. They said, we want a succession management intervention. And when I started to work with the CEO, Dr. Jack Kitts, he said, I don't want to do just an intervention to identify 2 or 3 successors. I want to develop my whole executive team. So that's what we did. So that's what we call a talent management intervention. And the 3 main characteristics, I would say, of steps in the intervention was, 1, to truly define what it takes to be successful in the organization in terms of competencies, knowledge, and the experience, the type of exposure they need, and personality traits, what is required to be successful. Then, like any good doctor would do, we did a diagnostic. So we measure each of the executive, they have a complete diagnostic on those 4 components I just mentioned. And 3, like a good doctor would do as well, we prescribe development solution specific for each of them, either assignment, experience acquisition, coaching, learning and development. And we also identify group needs, what was common for all of them. The implementation, the design, the implementation of the intervention took about 6 months, and we gave them 2 years to apply what we had identified in their development plan.
And what outcomes did the hospital experience after this intervention?
Good timing, actually, to ask that question, because although we started a bit more than 2 years ago, 2 months ago we did a follow-up. 2 years later, we went back specifically with each of them and look at, did they apply what was in their plan? Did they learn something? And what was the impact? So we're very pleased to say that in all of them, there's 11 executives, we averaged it out at 90% of what was put in their plan was applied, in terms of either attending a course or acquiring the experience, working with a coach and things like that. We noticed an improvement in all of them in their performance and what they wanted to develop. But the most important result is obviously this whole intervention was also to identify and develop future executive, like either future CEOs or COO. And we know that we now have ready or almost ready leaders to replace those that are retiring.
And what would you say were the key elements in making this intervention successful?
Good. I think a couple of characteristics, I think. 1 is the rigor in which we've done it. So the rigor of defining the profile, the measurement with the right tools that we use to measure, knowledge, experience, personality trait, competencies, and also the rigor in which we did the debrief. So everybody had a very thorough debrief of their results of the assessment, and a very specific, unique development plan. The other characteristic I think had a lot of impact, I would call it the visibility of the intervention. And I'm not saying that everybody in the organization knew about it, although they didn't hide it. But when we would give the feedback for one VP or senior VP, the CEO was in the room listening to the feedback and participating to it. If a VP reported to the COO of the organization, the Chief Operating Officer, both of them were there, the CEO and COO, to be part of the feedback and the debrief, to add their own comments. And when we moved to the development plan, same thing happened. Not only I worked directly with each job incumbent, each executive, but also their boss and their 2 level up were there in the room as well. And the CEO reports to the board every 6 months on how they're progressing. So it really put a lot of visibility, and I almost like to call it learning tension, to say people have to learn, have to develop. They don't want to be seen and say, yeah, I have a plan, but I'm not doing anything with it. So the rigor and the visibility had a lot of impact.